Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So today we are going to be solving the twosum using Python. We are going to be solving this particular problem with two approaches. The first one is going to be a brute force solution where we'll be using two for loops to go through the array and solve it. It's not going to be that efficient, but the second approach will be using dictionaries of Python to solve this particular problem, and that is going to be an efficient solution which probably you should be using. And if you guys don't want to go through the brute force solution, feel free to skip that part. I'm dropping down the timestamps in the description. So without any further ado, let's get started. So first, let's go through the question and understand it. The question is, given an array of integers, nums, and an array and an integer target, return indices of the two numbers such that they add up to target. So what this means is basically we have an example here to understand that. Uh, Let us consider this as nums, right? This is nums, and it is a list of integers, as you can see. It's given in the question. So the integers inside the nums are 2, 7, 11, and 15, and the indexes are 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So the given target that we have is 9, which means that adding any two integers inside this nums should give us the target number. So here let's add up each number and see what gives us 9, right? So if we add up 2 and 7, the very first two numbers itself, the 2 and 7, when we add them up, we get the target 9, right? So 2 plus 7 gives us 9, which is nothing but the target. So we have to, in the question, we can see that return the indices of the two numbers such that they add up to the target. So we have to return the indices of the numbers. So indices of the numbers 2 and 7 is nothing but 0 and 1, right? So our output will look something like this: 0 and 1. This is our output. Basically, the indices of the two numbers that when we add gives us the target 9, right? So over here, you can see that we have an example ready where the nums is a list of integers which contains 6, 2, 4, and 3. And the indexes is 0, 1, 2, and 3. And the target for this particular problem is 7, right? So in the brute force approach, what we are going to do is we are going to write two for loops, as you can see here. Uh, and like with the first for loop, we are going to stick to one index, and in the second for loop, we are going to loop through and add that number. So let's do that. So here we can see our first for loop for I in nums. So this is the I. First, the I will be pointing towards our index 0, which is 6, and then the control goes to the second loop, which is for j in nums. So j will basically be pointing towards second integer in the list, which is of the index 1. So to do this, we'll have to make a small change in the code here. This should be for j in range of length of nums, right? So j should start from the second index, like the index after I, because we'll see that why we are doing that in a bit here. So the way to do that is we have to write I plus 1 over here, right? So it looks something like this for j in range of I plus 1 length of nums, right? So what this does is it starts the j at a one position in front of j, in front of I, sorry. So first the I is fixed at index 0, and then j starts from index 1 because j is in the range of I plus 1. So it starts with index 1 over here. And what we'll do in this second for loop is we will basically add this integer 6, the ith integer and the jth integer, and check if it is equal to target. which is 7. So 6 plus 2, is it equal to 7? No. So we are going to move this j to the next position. So 6 plus 4, is it equal to 7? Nope, it's equal to 10. So we will move j to the next position again. And 6 plus 3, is it equal to 7? No. So what we will do is the for loop ends here and we will go back to our first for loop, right? So in the first for loop, we increment I to the position 1 and then we take j to the next position because for j is in the range of I plus 1 and we check, we add 2 plus 4, it's 6, so it's not equal to 7. We are going to move j to the next position. 2 plus 3, 5, not equal to 7. Then we repeat the process. We take I, place it in the second index. We take j, place it at third index, add 4 plus 7, is it equal to 7? Yes, when it's equal to 7, we return the index I, which is 2, and index j, which is 3 in this for loop. So that's going to be our approach in the brute force method. And to code that, it will look something like for I in range of length of nums, and we'll start our second loop, which is for j in range of length of nums. And since j should be in the next index to I, we will add I plus 1 to the j, right? And next we'll be checking if nums of I is equal to nums, oh sorry, nums of I plus nums of j, if this is equal to target. If yes, we are just going to be returning I comma j. That's it. This is going to be our brute force approach. So when we submit this, sometimes it will be accepted, sometimes it will be denied because the time limit will be exceeded, and it's basically it's taking a lot of time, guys. So let's see how our efficient way using dictionaries work. So in our second approach, we'll be using dictionary to solve it more efficiently, where our where our program would have a complexity of big O of n instead of the brute force method, which we used had a complexity of big O of n square. So if you're not familiar with this, just know that big O of n is better than n square. So this particular approach is much more efficient. So we have named over here our dictionary as holder, and it has the key and value pairs as usual. This is our nums list with a list of integers, and these are the indexes, and this is our target value that we'll have to get by adding any two of the numbers inside the nums list, right? So before we begin with the code, let's look at one small part of the logic that we'll need in a code. That is over here we can see that num1, so we already know that any two numbers when they are added, so num1 and num2, we have to get target, right? So this particular equation can also be written as num2 equal to target minus num1, right? So it can also be written as this will be using in our code. So let's see how we'll do that. Okay, so let's start off by declaring a dictionary, which is holder, and a for loop for I comma num1 in enumerate of nums, right? So if you're not familiar with enumerate, what it does, it basically gives out indexes and the value of the list. So I is going to be 0 and num1 is going to be 6 in the first iteration, right? So so once in the first iteration, what we do is then we calculate our num2 as per the formula that we have derived here. So target minus num1, right? So in the first iteration, num1's value is 6, so our target is 7. So 7 minus 6, our num2 is going to be 1. So first we will check if num2 is present in holder, right? We are going to check that. If it is present, we'll have to do something, right? But at the moment, num2 value is 1, which is not present in our dictionary. So we will just write pass. We'll come back to it later. And in the else condition, the control will basically enter the else condition because num2 is not in holder. So what are we going to do in the else condition? We are going to initialize this particular like our dictionary with the num1 value. So holder of num1 with the index of that particular num1 value. So num1 is going to be 6 and then index of that is going to be 0. So when we initialize it, looks something like this. So 6 with 0 as the value, right? So you'll get why we are doing this as we proceed further. So now we are going to move our index to the next integer in the list, which is going to be 2, and the index value is going to be 1. So target is 7 minus num1, which is 2 over here. 7 minus 2 will give us 5. Then we'll check if 5 is in holder dictionary, right? So we don't see 5 over here. So what are we going to do? We will enter else condition and we will initialize 5 inside the holder dictionary, right? So let's do that. Holder of 5, holder of num1. Sorry, num1 is 2, not 5. So 2, right? Num1 is 2. So 2 with index 1. Okay, index is 1. So our for loop continues, our index is moved forward, and now index is 2 and the value is 4, and num2 is target minus num1, which is 7 minus 4, which is 3. We'll check if 3 is present in holder. Is it present? No. So we are going to enter the else condition and initialize num1, which will be 4, right? Let's do that. 4 initialized with index 2. So now our index is moved forward to the next index and the value is also 3. So over here when we calculate num2 target, which is 7, 7 minus 3, we get 4. We check if 4 is present in holder. Do we have 4? Yes, we do have 4 in holder. So what we do is, if we have num2 present in holder, we just return the index of this particular value, which is like 2. So holder of num2 would return us this index value 2 and this index which is there, so which is nothing but 3, right? So I, and then close this. So this is what we'll be returning. So our return value for this particular example would be 2 comma 3. So 2 comma 3 is nothing but 4 plus 3, which gives us 7. So we have solved this in a much more efficient way when compared to the brute force method. To check the difference, so when we submitted this particular approach, it has a runtime of 58 milliseconds, and the brute force had a runtime of around 6,000 milliseconds, which is a lot when compared to this efficient way. So hopefully you have understood this, and if you have uh, learned something new, please make sure to like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what else do you want to see on this channel uh, specific to coding, and we'll make sure to come up with more videos. Uh, Thank you and see you soon.